When the grid goes down, the world outside your window can turn into a nightmare. The streets grow dangerous, the elevators grind to a halt, and the comforts of modern life vanish in an instant. For millions of people living in apartments or condos, the idea of grabbing a bug-out bag and running to the woods is nothing more than a fantasy. You're not bugging out, you're locking in. And in a high-rise surrounded by neighbors with limited space, no backyard, and maybe just one way in or out, survival takes on a whole new meaning. This is where real preppers separate themselves from the dreamers. Bugging in isn't just an option, it's a necessity. But here's the catch. In tight quarters, every single item you own has to work overtime. It's not just about having supplies, it's about having the right supplies. Because when the lights go out and the chaos begins, your apartment isn't just your home anymore, it's your bunker. So if you're planning to ride out the next blackout, lockdown, or supply chain collapse from the 8th floor, you need to be ready. In this video, we're diving into the top 10 must-have items to survive a blackout in an apartment. The essentials that could mean the difference between life and death. Let's get into it. 1. Turn your apartment into a fortress. When the grid goes down, your apartment door isn't just an entryway, it's the only thing standing between you and the chaos outside. In a blackout, when desperation takes over and civil unrest brews, your front door becomes your lifeline. For apartment dwellers, this is even more critical. Unlike houses with fences, yards, or multiple layers of defense, you're dealing with shared hallways, thin walls, and neighbors just a few feet away. If your door isn't fortified, you're vulnerable. Period. The first step to turning your apartment into a fortress is reinforcing your front door. Most apartment doors are shockingly weak, held in place by flimsy half-inch screws that can be kicked in with minimal effort. Start by upgrading the strike plate, the metal piece that holds the latch or deadbolt in place. Replace those tiny screws with 3-inch steel screws that anchor deep into the door frame studs. This simple upgrade can make your door exponentially harder to breach. Next, invest in a heavy-duty door security bar or an adjustable door jammer. These tools are renter-friendly, requiring no screws or permanent modifications. They wedge under your doorknob or brace against the floor, creating instant resistance to forced entry. No electricity, no tools, just pure mechanical strength. For anyone living in an apartment, this is a must-have, but don't stop there. Visibility is just as important as strength. Install a wide-angle peephole, or better yet, a peephole camera. These devices let you see who's outside without opening the door, and some even record footage for later review. In a blackout, when tensions are high and trust is low, knowing who's on the other side of the door can be the difference between safety and disaster. Windows are another weak point, especially in apartments where they often face shared walls or busy streets. Apply security window film to make the glass shatter resistant. This invisible layer holds the glass together during impacts, whether it's from a looter, a storm, or even an explosion. Pair this with blackout curtains to keep your apartment hidden. When the city goes dark, even the faintest glow from a lantern or screen can make you a target. Blackout curtains trap the light inside, keeping prying eyes out. Now, let's talk about barricades. Your mattress, box spring, or even heavy furniture like bookshelves can be repurposed as additional barriers. In a pinch, flip your mattress against the door or use a dresser to block secondary entry points like patio sliders. It's low tech, but it works. Finally, remember the psychology of security. A visibly fortified door sends a clear message. You're not an easy target. In a crisis, predators look for the path of least resistance. Your goal is to make them move on to someone else. In a blackout, your apartment isn't just your home, it's your stronghold. Treat it like one. 2. Master the art of apartment water survival. When the grid fails, water becomes your most precious resource. Forget food, forget electricity. Without water, you won't last more than 3 days. And in an apartment where there's no backyard well or rain barrel, securing a reliable water supply is a challenge you can't afford to ignore. The first rule of water survival in an apartment is smart storage. Space is limited, so every gallon counts. Start with stackable water containers like water bricks or Reliance Octwainers. These compact, durable containers are designed for tight spaces. They fit under beds, inside closets, or even behind your couch. Each container holds 3 to 7 gallons, and because they're stackable, you can store a significant amount of water in just a few square feet. With a little planning, you can easily stockpile 30 gallons or more, enough to keep you hydrated for weeks. But what happens when the taps run dry? That's where the bathtub comes in. Keep a water bob or aquapod kit in your emergency supplies. These are essentially giant food-grade plastic liners that unfold to fill your entire bathtub. When filled, they can hold up to 100 gallons of water, sealed and safe from contamination. The moment you hear about a potential disruption, deploy it. Don't wait until the water pressure drops to zero. Storage is only half the battle, but you also need a way to purify water. In a blackout, you can't rely on municipal water treatment, and drinking contaminated water can be deadly. Invest in a gravity-fed water filter like a Berkey, Sawyer, or Katadyn. These systems don't require electricity and can filter hundreds of gallons, removing bacteria, protozoa, and even chemicals. They're a lifesaver in any grid-down scenario. For backup, keep purification tablets or iodine drops on hand. These are lightweight, take up almost no space, and can make questionable water safe to drink in minutes. If you're lucky enough to have a balcony, use it to collect rainwater. A simple tarp and bungee cord setup or even a plastic tote can capture rain, providing a renewable water source. Just remember, always filter or purify rainwater before using it. Organization is key. Label your water containers clearly. Drinking, hygiene, cleaning. Use colored duct tape or permanent markers to avoid mix-ups in a high-stress situation. Store them in separate zones to prevent cross-contamination. The last thing you want is to accidentally drink water you've designated for cleaning. And don't forget to rotate your supply. Water stored long-term can develop a stale taste or even grow bacteria. Rotate your stock every 6 to 12 months and add a drop of bleach per gallon for long-term storage. Treat your first-use water with extra care. This is your lifeline, and there's no room for mistakes. In a blackout, water isn't just a necessity, it's survival. Without it, your chances of making it through the crisis plummet. Plan smart, store wisely, and always have a backup, because when the taps run dry, it's too late to start preparing. 3. The silent pantry. Apartment-safe, shelf-stable food. When the grid goes down, your pantry becomes more than just a storage space, it's your lifeline. But in an apartment, it's not just about having food, it's about having the right food. You don't have the luxury of a backyard garden, a root cellar, or even a garage to stash supplies. Every square inch of your space has to work overtime, and every choice you make could mean the difference between staying safe or becoming a target. Here's the harsh truth. In a blackout, smells travel. Without power, the vents stop filtering air, and every whiff of food becomes a beacon to hungry neighbors. That's why your food strategy needs to be stealthy, compact, and low odor. Start with freeze-dried meals. Brands like Mountain House or ReadyWise are a prepper's best friend. These meals come in lightweight pouches, stacked neatly like books, and have a shelf life of 20 to 30 years. All they need is hot water to prepare, and they produce far less aroma than cooking fresh meat or spicy dishes. Plus, cleanup is a breeze. No pots, no pans, no mess. For added security, store these meals in opaque bins under your bed or in high closets out of sight and out of mind. Next on the list, MREs, meals ready to eat. These self-contained meals are designed for military use, but civilian versions are widely available. They come with flameless heaters, require no kitchen tools, and can be eaten straight from the pouch. In a blackout, you could eat one in total darkness without alerting anyone to your stash. But you'll need more than just prepackaged meals. Stock up on low-odor staples like oats, white rice, lentils, instant mashed potatoes, and powdered soups. These foods are filling, easy to prepare, and won't betray you through the walls. Canned proteins like tuna and chicken are also essential, but be cautious. These can be smelly. If you must use them, eat them cold or mix them into rice to dampen the scent. Nut butters are another must-have. Peanut butter, almond butter, or any other variety is calorie-dense, shelf-stable, and completely no-cook. They're the ultimate quiet survival fuel. To round out your pantry, add powdered milk and powdered eggs. These compact protein sources are great for baking or bulking up basic meals. Now let's talk about cooking. In a blackout, you won't have access to your microwave, stove, or oven, and grilling on your balcony? Forget it. Not only is it a fire hazard, but it's also a surefire way to attract unwanted attention. Instead, invest in a thermal cooker or insulated jar. These devices let you boil water once and then slow cook your food without any additional heat or fuel. It's a game changer for resource conservation and stealth. Organization is key. Use drawer dividers, closet tops, and under the bed tubs to separate foods by type and expiration date. Label everything clearly and rotate your stock seasonally. The goal is to have a system that's easy to manage, even in high-stress situations. Remember, your food prep isn't just about filling your stomach, it's about protecting your cover. Quiet meals, tight storage, and low scent are the pillars of apartment survival. In a blackout, the last thing you want is to light a dinner beacon for the entire building. 4. Stealth cooking, safe and discreet off-grid solutions. When the power goes out, cooking becomes a dangerous game. In an apartment where space is tight and neighbors are close, the risks multiply. You're not just cooking to survive, you're cooking to stay hidden. The smell of food can travel through walls, vents, and hallways, turning your apartment into a target for desperate neighbors. That's why off-grid cooking in a blackout needs to be compact, discreet, and above all, safe. The first tool in your arsenal should be a butane stove. These small portable stoves are perfect for stovetop basics. They heat up quickly, tuck away in a drawer, and can boil water or heat soup in minutes. But here's the catch. Never use a butane stove in a sealed room. Always crack a window or door to prevent carbon monoxide buildup. In an apartment where ventilation is limited, this is non-negotiable. If you're looking for an even safer option, consider a portable alcohol stove. These stoves are quieter and produce less odor than butane, making them ideal for tightly sealed units. No airflow at all? Sterno cans or solid fuel cubes are your best bet. These are specifically labeled as safe for indoor use and are often used in chafing setups. They won't make gourmet meals, but they'll get the job done without setting off alarms or attracting neighbors. For maximum stealth and fuel efficiency, add a thermal cooker to your setup. This ingenious device lets you boil food quickly, seal it in, and let it slow cook without any ongoing heat or electricity. No flame, no smell, no problem. It's the ultimate tool for resource conservation and low-profile cooking. Now let's talk essentials. A manual can opener is a must-have, no exceptions. Without it, your stockpile of canned goods is useless. Pair this with a mess kit, 1 pot, 1 cup, and 1 set of utensils. Go for nesting, stainless steel, or titanium kits. They're lightweight, stackable, and space-friendly. Safety is another critical factor. Keep a compact fire extinguisher and a fire blanket within arm's reach. In an apartment where units are packed tightly together, a single mistake with a stove or fuel cube can escalate into a building-wide crisis. Seconds matter, and being prepared can save lives. Finally, let's revisit the issue of smell. Even something as simple as boiling rice can draw attention. Stick to low-odor meals and avoid frying or grilling. Seal leftovers immediately and store them in airtight containers. If your neighbor can smell your food, they might soon expect to share it, or worse, take it. In a blackout, cooking isn't just about survival, it's about strategy. Every decision you make, from the tools you use to the meals you prepare, needs to prioritize safety, stealth, and efficiency, because in the dark, the smallest mistake can have the biggest consequences. 5. Conquering the darkness. Apartment safe light and power solutions. When the grid goes down in a high-rise, darkness doesn't just creep in, it consumes everything. No hallway lights, no glow from neighboring windows, no ambient city light bleeding through the curtains. Just an oppressive, suffocating blackness that turns your once familiar apartment into a disorienting maze. Without a plan for light and power, you're left vulnerable, isolated, and fumbling in the dark. The first step to conquering the blackout is securing reliable, no-fail light sources. Start with a crank-powered flashlight radio combo. This isn't about fancy gadgets, it's about survival. A few turns of the handle and you've got light to navigate your space and access to emergency broadcast. No batteries, no grid, no sunlight required. It's a lifeline that works when everything else fails. But handheld flashlights aren't enough. You're a lifeline that works when everything else fails. But handheld flashlights aren't enough. You need ambient light to reclaim your space. Invest in LED lanterns, collapsible models that run on AA or APOE batteries. These lanterns are compact, long-lasting, and easy to store. Look for ones with dimmable settings and a run time of 100+ hours on low mode. Place one in every room or critical area and test them monthly to ensure they're ready when you need them. Now, let's talk power. Your phone isn't just a communication device. It's your flashlight, your map, your emergency contact list, and your connection to the outside world. That's why you need at least 2 high-capacity rechargeable power banks, 10,000 meters or more. Label them, rotate them every 30 days, and store them in cool, dry places. To keep those power banks alive when the grid stays down, invest in a compact solar panel charger. These chargers are slow but steady, capable of restoring 10-20% of a power bank's charge with just a few hours of sunlight. Place them in a window or on a balcony, and you'll have enough power to send a message, check a map, or keep a light running. And yes, candles still have a role to play. Emergency candles or oil lamps provide steady, quiet light, but they come with risks. Only use them in well-ventilated areas and keep them far from anything flammable. Place them on ceramic plates or shallow bowls of water to contain wax and flames. Remember, in an apartment, fire spreads fast, and one mistake can turn your sanctuary into a death trap. The key to surviving the darkness is redundancy. Layer your light and power solutions so that if one fails, another is ready to take its place. Test your setup now, not when the lights go out. Because in a blackout, control over your environment isn't just a convenience, it's survival. 6. Silent crisis. Grid down, sanitation in apartments. When the grid fails, there's a dirty little secret no one likes to talk about. Your plumbing is a ticking time bomb. In apartments, sewage systems rely on pumps, and when the power goes out, those pumps stop working. Water pressure drops, toilets clog, and in the worst cases, sewage can backflow into your unit. Within 72 hours, your once comfortable apartment can turn into a biohazard. Your first line of defense is a simple but essential tool, a 5-gallon bucket. Get 2 if you can. Add a snap-on toilet seat lid to transform it into an emergency toilet. Line the bucket with 2 contractor-grade trash bags per use. Don't skimp on quality. Thin bags tear, leak, and create a nightmare you don't want to deal with. Billion uses, add a scoop of kitty litter, sawdust, or shredded cardboard. These materials absorb moisture, neutralize odors, and make the situation tolerable. Store your setup in a discreet but accessible location like your bathtub or a closet, and stock up on at least 30-40 heavy-duty trash bags. These aren't just for waste. They're infection control tools in a crisis. Wipes are your next essential. Baby wipes, antibacterial surface wipes, and body wipes will replace your bathroom, sink, and disinfectant spray. Stock them by the box, not the pack. Toilet paper is still important, but ration it carefully. 2 bulk packs per person can last months if used wisely. For women, don't overlook feminine hygiene products. Stock at least a 2-month supply of pads, tampons, or reusable menstrual cups. These are non-negotiable for maintaining health and hygiene. Cleaning supplies are just as critical. Bleach or heavy-duty disinfectant is a must for sanitizing your space. After every bucket change, every spill, and every illness, you'll need to wipe down surfaces to control bacterial growth. Pair this with nitrile gloves to protect your hands from cross-contamination. Sanitation isn't about luxury, it's about survival. A proper system keeps your space livable and your health intact. And when the rest of the building starts to smell like panic, your clean, contained setup will be the difference between enduring the crisis and succumbing to it. 7. The lifeline, first aid and medical preps for blackouts. In a true grid down scenario, forget about calling 911. Emergency lines will be jammed, hospitals may be inaccessible, and local clinics could be overwhelmed or shut down. In that moment, you become your own first responder. Your ability to handle medical emergencies could mean the difference between life and death. Start with the trauma level first aid kit. This isn't your standard glove box kit with a few Band-Aids and an alcohol wipe. You need wound closure strips, sterile gauze pads, burn dressings, antiseptic spray, irrigation syringes, medical shears, splints, and a digital thermometer. Add hemostatic gauze, tourniquets, and pressure dressings. These aren't just for combat injuries, they're for kitchen accidents, falls, or any situation where help is days away. Storage is key. Use labeled bins, stackable plastic drawers, or hanging organizers to keep your supplies accessible and organized. In an apartment, vertical storage is your best friend. Prescription medications are another critical component. Aim for a 30-day, 90-day supply of essential meds like insulin, asthma inhalers, or blood pressure pills. Talk to your doctor now about securing an emergency reserve. Store these in a temperature-stable area, and if refrigeration is needed, prepare backup methods like a battery-powered mini fridge or thermal coolers. Don't forget over-the-counter meds. Stock ibuprofen, acetaminophen, aspirin, allergy meds, antidiarrheals, antacids, flu relief, electrolyte powder, laxatives, and wound care cream. If you have children, include pediatric versions of key medications. Personal protective equipment, PPE, is vital in tight quarters. Stock surgical masks, N95S, nitrile gloves, and even plastic face shields. These will help you isolate a sick person or treat wounds safely. Finally, prepare for the worst. Download PDFs of basic medical manuals and print key pages. Keep hard copies of books like Where There Is No Doctor or the Survival Medicine Handbook. Include a small notebook for logging vitals, dosages, and symptoms. In a blackout, your medical preps aren't just a safety net, they're a lifeline. When the grid fails, you can't afford to be unprepared because in the dark, there's no one coming to save you. 8. Apartment, survival, intelligence, communication, and awareness. When the grid goes down, the flow of information doesn't just slow, it stops. The internet vanishes, cell towers go silent, and suddenly you're cut off from the world. In an apartment lockdown, this isolation can be deadly. Without information, you're blind to what's happening outside your walls, who's nearby, where danger is brewing, and how close it's getting to your door. But with the right tools and preparation, you can stay informed, connected, and one step ahead of the chaos. Start with the basics: a hand crank or battery-powered emergency radio. This isn't just a weather gadget, it's your lifeline to local emergencies, civil alerts, evacuation orders, and more. Look for models that include AM/FM and shortwave bands, as well as built-in solar panels or USB charging ports for added versatility. This old-school tech doesn't rely on apps, Wi-Fi, or cell service, making it a reliable source of critical updates when everything else fails. But don't stop there. Modernize your local communication with Bluetooth mesh apps like BridgeFi, Briar, or Meshtastic. These apps allow you to send text messages between devices without internet or cell service, creating a private invisible network. If you and your neighbors install them in advance, you can quietly build a building-wide or block-wide communication system that keeps you informed without drawing attention. Maps are another essential tool. Download offline maps using apps like Gaia GPS or Maps.me. These apps let you store detailed layouts of your neighborhood, including escape routes, water sources, hospitals, and potential bug-out paths. Create backups on multiple devices and always mark key locations like emergency services and supply points. For low-tech reliability, print a physical contact sheet. Include names, phone numbers, radio frequencies, emergency channels, and the contact info for building managers, maintenance crews, and trusted neighbors. Laminate it or store it in a waterproof sleeve with your communication gear. If your phone dies or your memory fails, this simple sheet could save precious time or lives. Now, let's talk about situational awareness. Set up passive surveillance inside your apartment. Peephole cameras or stick-on motion sensors can alert you to hallway traffic or intrusion attempts. Pair this with a window observation log to track vehicles, foot traffic, or unusual activity outside. Knowing what's happening around you can help you predict threats before they reach your door. Finally, assign roles if you're with family or roommates. Designate one person to scan radio updates twice daily and log key information like blackout duration, civil unrest hotspots, or weather changes. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. In a blackout, information is power, and staying informed can mean the difference between safety and disaster. 9. Battling the elements, climate control in a powerless apartment. When the grid goes down, your apartment doesn't just lose power, it loses its ability to protect you from the elements. Without heating or cooling, your home becomes a temperature trap, exposing you to the full force of the weather outside. In a long-term blackout, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's life-threatening. In cold climates, your first priority is heat retention. Most of your apartment's warmth escapes through windows, exterior walls, and even floors. Combat this with space blankets, those shiny Mylar lifesavers. Tape them over windows to reflect body heat back into the room. Layer them with heavy drapes, blankets, or even towels to create insulation barriers. If you don't have thick curtains, hang extra bed sheets or tapestries to block drafts. For an extra layer of warmth, pitch a tent inside your apartment. A family-sized tent or even a small bivvy set up in your living room can create a microclimate. Pad the floor with blankets and surround yourself with sleeping bags. Body heat alone can raise the temperature inside the tent by several degrees, and if you have pets, their warmth adds to the effect. Don't forget your clothing. Thermal base layers, wool socks, knit hats, and gloves are essential for conserving body heat. Stock up on chemical hand warmers. They're cheap, shelf-stable, and provide instant warmth in an emergency. In hot climates, the goal flips to heat rejection and airflow. Start by blocking out the sun. Use blackout curtains or reflective window films to reduce indoor heat gain. A USB-powered fan paired with a solar charger or battery bank becomes valuable for creating airflow. For a DIY cooling solution, rig an evaporative cooler, soak a towel in water, hang it in front of your fan, and place a pan of ice below. The airflow across the wet surface creates a noticeable cooling effect. It's not air conditioning, but in a sealed apartment during a heat wave, it can be a lifesaver. Finally, isolate one room as your climate control zone. Use tarps and duct tape to seal off door cracks and insulate thresholds. Convert this space into your survival core, where you spend most of your time. In a blackout, temperature isn't just a comfort issue, it's a survival challenge. Prepare for it, insulate against it, and take control of your environment before it takes control of you. 10. Mental survival, psychological and social resilience. You can have all the food, water, and gear in the world, but if your mind breaks, your survival plan crumbles with it. Bugging in during a blackout isn't just a physical challenge, it's a psychological one. Isolation, boredom, anxiety, and cabin fever can erode your ability to function, making you vulnerable in ways no amount of prepping can fix. Start by feeding your mind. Stock physical books for fiction, for escape, nonfiction for learning, and survival manuals for skill building. Even comics or coloring books can provide a welcome distraction. These low-tech entertainment options don't rely on power and can keep your brain engaged during long, silent hours. Games and puzzles are another must-have. Card decks, board games, crosswords, and Sudoku books may seem trivial, but they're invaluable for breaking up monotony. If you're with others, group games can help maintain healthy interaction and prevent tension from boiling over. Structure is key to maintaining morale. If you're bugging in with family or roommates, assign roles early. Daily tasks like cleaning, ration tracking, and water checks give everyone a sense of purpose and prevent burnout. Living alone? Establish light touch communication strategies with trusted neighbors, like flashlight signals or quiet knock codes. Journaling is an often overlooked tool for mental survival. Keeping a daily log of activities, thoughts, or even sketches provides emotional release and cognitive clarity. It's also a way to track what's working, what's not, and what's changing in your environment. Finally, stash morale boosters. Instant coffee, tea bags, chocolate bars, hard candies, or even a favorite spice mix can make a world of difference. These small comforts provide a psychological lift when you need it most. Pets, if you have them, are another source of emotional stability. Their routines and companionship can reduce anxiety and provide a sense of normalcy. In the end, bugging in is as much a mental game as it is a logistical one. Prepare your mind as thoroughly as you prepare your supplies, because in a blackout, resilience isn't just about survival, it's about staying human. Conclusion, your apartment survival blueprint. When the grid goes down, your apartment transforms from a home into a survival bunker. It's not just about riding out the storm, it's about thriving in the chaos. From fortifying your entryway to mastering off-grid cooking, from securing light and power to maintaining your mental edge, every step you take now is an investment in your safety and resilience. Surviving a blackout in an apartment isn't about luck. It's about preparation. It's about thinking ahead, planning for the worst, and ensuring that when the lights go out, you're not left fumbling in the dark. Each of these 10 must-haves is a piece of the puzzle, a critical tool in your arsenal to stay safe, secure, and self-reliant. Remember, survival isn't just about gear, it's about mindset. It's about staying calm, staying informed, and staying adaptable. The world outside may descend into chaos, but within your walls, you can create a haven of order and control. So take action now. Stock your supplies, test your systems, and prepare your space. Because when the blackout comes, and it will, it's not the strongest or the smartest who survive, it's the ones who are ready. Your apartment is your fortress. Make it unbreakable.